That painting is like, I got you, bitch. That's what that is.
Oh, right.
You got a president who was on the flight logs 26 times with Epstein, and you got that guy in a dress in your house.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Sometimes you just hit it right. We have a live stream called The Benny Show, and you book these guests sometimes a month in advance. And if a Donald Trump indictment gets thrown out and you had Trump's lawyer already booked for the show, you're like, perfect booking, perfect guest. That's the person I want to talk to today. And it just so happened that Kash Patel, the FBI director, who is allegedly in possession of all of the available evidence, Jeffrey Epstein, was live on Joe Rogan's show, pre-recording, but was just released. They were in studio together when Elon Musk dropped the thermonuclear bombshell that Donald Trump's in the Epstein list. Yikes. Okay. So that happened live on Rogan's show. And Rogan got to ask, hey, is Donald Trump in the Epstein list? What a booking. It's probably the number one person you'd want to ask that question of is the man who's in possession of all of that evidence and supposedly going to be releasing it. Here's how it went.
In a bit of a spat, Joe. You want to check the tweet that Elon just put out a little bit ago?
Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ.
I'm not participating in any of that conversation.
What is
between
he?
Elon
Have a
and Trump.
nice day, DJT. Someone should take his phone away.
They're going back and forth about different things. And
Yeah.
Well, he said he was disappointed in Elon.
yeah, she told him to leave.
Jesus Christ, that's a crazy thing to say. How does he know? Does he know that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? Or does he have access to the Epstein files?
I don't know how he would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump-Elon thing. That's way outside my lane.
What the fuck are they doing?
I know my lane and that ain't it.
I just don't. I mean, I understand he owns Twitter. I think it's bad for your mental health. I think posting things public all day and arguing with people all day is bad for you.
Well, you raise a great point. Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Half of what we have to respond to is the click army on social media.
Right. And 50% of that plus is bots.
50% of that plus is bots, but let's take the other 50% of that. It's just constantly pushing out information to sell T-shirts or subscriptions or whatever, listen to my show. And then people are like, hey, FBI, why aren't you looking at this thing in Oklahoma? And I'm like, because it's fake. I don't have time for that. And and so to your point on social media does have a great use in terms of so the reason Dan and I don't do a lot of media is because we're the FBI. Let our work speak for itself.
Right.
But we have to find the right balance of going to do media and posting on social media the things we're doing and keeping people updated. And so that's the delicate balance we're trying. But what I'm learning is no matter what you do, it doesn't matter. It's going to just completely not make everyone happy. And there's no solve for that in terms of how the FBI operates. But at the same time, the FBI won't be thwarted by it.
So Kash Patel must have known that this was coming because he actually started off his conversation with Joe Rogan by putting the cart before the horse, as they say, and bringing up Epstein right away. And so sort of speed ramping it. I know you're going to ask about Epstein, so here's what I got.
Let's just get to it because I know it's on people's minds. Epstein, right? The reason people are pissed off about that is the same thing, right? 20 years ago or whenever it was, 2006, 7, 8, Epstein gets his sweetheart plea deal, right? After committing the most horrific crimes on planet Earth, right? I wasn't in power there. I wasn't in place there. I had nothing to do with it. But people were rightfully pissed. I mean, this guy was committing the most grotesque acts you can against children. And the media spins up about it. Many in the media protected him. Why? Because of his relationships, who he knew, who his bankers were, who his colleagues were, who was on the island and stuff like that. Some pretty powerful human beings. And so when you peel back the layer and then what happened? The Trump administration, the last go around, decided, no, we're not going to let that go. We're going to investigate him, right? They charge him, they indict him, and he's awaiting trial. And I've said it, Dan Bongino said it, we've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on? But the problem is there's been 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist. Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you if it existed? I'm working my ass off along with the leadership at the Bureau and DOJ to get you what we're allowed to give you. And you're going to get the video of the cell. And you're going to see for yourself. And we will never be able to convince everyone.
Joe Rogan didn't let Kash get away with it, though, that easily. He kept asking some pretty pressing questions, reading some of the medical examiner's reports, some of the toxicologists and the morticians who are like, wait a second. Like, the forensics guys were like, looks like a murder. And he's reading through some of the data about the mystery behind the Epstein murder. And Kash's response is very interesting here. Let's go.
Brother claims. New York City medical examiner strongly disputed the claim that the evidence from the autopsy suggested strangulation. So let's go to by the way, this is the New York Times and they never lie. The private pathologist, Dr. Michael Baden, said the morning TV show Fox and Friends, Mr. Epstein experienced a number of injuries, among them a broken bone in his neck, that are extremely unusual in suicidal hangings and could occur much more commonly in homicidal strangulation. I think the evidence points to homicide rather than suicide, said Dr. Baden, who observed the autopsy done by city officials. Dr. Baden, a former New York City medical examiner and a Fox News contributor, said, I have not seen in 50 years where that occurred in suicidal hanging case. Findings by Dr. Baden were strongly disputed by the city's chief medical examiner, Dr. Barbara Sampson, who previously ruled that Mr. Epstein's death on August 10th in the Metropolitan Correctional Center was a suicide. I stand firmly behind our determination of the cause and manner of death in this case, Dr. Sampson said in the interview on Wednesday. She added, in general, fractures of the hyoid bone and cartilage can be seen in suicides and homicides. The hyoid bone is near the Adam's apple. Dr. Sampson also dismissed Dr. Baden's contention that the circumstances around Mr. Epstein's death suggested other people may have been involved. She said her office had done a complete investigation, taking into consideration information gathered by law enforcement in making the determination.
So this is a perfect example of going back to my public defender and prosecutor days. This is what we call a war of experts. You can always find someone to come in and say the opposite. And I used to do it all the time. I mean, I represented some of the worst humans that you can possibly imagine on earth, literally. The guys that were trafficking children from Mexico into America. And you could put up a professional expert to say, and this is what's going to go on forever. And my job is not the forever. My job is to get you absolutely everything that we can give you. And that's what we're going to do.
In July last year, and hanged himself in jail.
Hang on.
Yep.
Reread that line.
That he first tried to kill himself in July of last year. Yeah.
How much of the American public do you think knows that?
I didn't know that until right now.
There you go.
Maybe I heard it and forgot. Did you ever hear it, Jamie?
Well, that's why he's on suicide watch, I think.
Oh, okay.
So a guy
hanged himself in jail in August while serving trial on federal sex trafficking charge. He pleaded not guilty to abusing dozens of girls, some as young as 14. Soon after Epstein's death in August, two of the CCTV cameras outside his cell had malfunctioned and were being examined by the FBI. Found semi-conscious in his prison cell with injuries on his neck on 25th of July. After this incident, he's placed on suicide watch.
I'm not saying every single camera in the place was working. I'm saying we've got footage and you're getting it. And then you can make up your own mind. And the theories can continue. But my job is to give you
became aware of this footage recently.
The ones that we're looking at,
Right. Yeah. And so, but this is like an article from quite a while ago that was saying that the footage was mistakenly erased.
Look, I mean, it goes back to the same, ask the people that were in power then. I mean, I get it that you want to hold me to account for their actions. And
no, I'm not saying,
not you.
I'm not saying that.
Not you, just the public in general, and that's okay.
What's confusing to everybody today, first of all, it's very confusing because AI can kind of make anything. You know, which has got to be a bizarre position for you to be in when you're looking at videos. I mean, I've watched Viking videos. It looked real as fuck, you know? They just make Viking towns. I mean, it's really quite incredible what they're doing now, and it accelerates every month. I mean, I talked to Elon about it, and he said we're blown away literally every week. Every week there's some new breakthrough that we're like, wow, we didn't expect that.
Well, I can tell you after having looked at it, this ain't going to be AI.
You don't think so?
It's just not great. You know, it's like if it were AI, like someone wanted to come in and make it, they'd make it better.
But why would you make it better when people could, you know, you could have ambiguous footage that is, you know, totally generated by AI. I mean, AI can generate blurry images. AI can generate night vision. AI can generate essentially anything that's already existed, like really shitty 1984 VHS tapes. They can do that.
They can. But I'm telling you, I'm giving you the tape from the tape. You know, there's just like I'm giving you the documents from the vault, just like I'm giving you information to Congress on COVID origins or what have you. What we find is what you're getting.
So Kash Patel there saying, prepare to be disappointed, but I respect the questions. If the cameras were broken 5 years ago when this happened, then and the footage was accidentally deleted, then how do you have all the footage? He doesn't really have a great answer for that. He says, well, you're just going to have to hold those people accountable who were in power. I was in power back then. That's a matter of fact. It's going to be very, very frustrating because people are not going to believe whatever they release. And for good reason, obviously. Joe continues.
One was in a position where a guy could release information that could potentially damage the most wealthy people on earth, you would have a concerted effort that's unprecedented.
Sure.
You would have the resources that we couldn't even possibly comprehend, all pointing towards eliminating this one person that it could be done.
But I mean, so many people have been implicated, right, already, and some of that information, what they did to Prince Andrew and everybody else is already out there, and so that's the conspiracy stuff that me and Bongino and the folks have to say, look, we will give you everything we can, and then we will have done our job. Also, if I had a shred, me, Kash Patel, had a shred of evidence, the Russiagate guy, the Jan 6 guy, the COVID origins guy, had a shred of evidence that this guy was murdered, I would be the first guy to bring this case hard and fast. And I would be doing press conferences every week on it. Mm-hmm. The first guy. That's what I'm asking people to play out to their logical conclusion. I'm not Comey. I'm not McCabe. I'm not the guy that was in the seat before. I have a wildly different background. I've been putting out the truth my entire career. Why would I risk all of it on this guy?
I mean, I guess you make a good point. Why would he lie? But what everybody's going to continue to say is, well, we don't know what was in the files. We don't know what was in the files. The government's lying. The government's not giving you the full files. We've actually already seen this. You remember when the Trump administration said they were going to release all the Epstein files, the feds lied to them. They tricked them and they embarrassed them. Turns out there were more, I guess, but we're probably seeing just a scintilla of what is actually existent, and most of it's probably at the CIA.
The video from the island.
Oh, that's it. Sorry. So you're talking about two different
Yes.
things. So,
sorry.
So, yeah. So,
like this stuff.
again, we're going to
CIA.
give you everything we can. And people have to remember, we're not going to re-victimize women. We're not going to put that shit back out there. It's not happening, because then he wins. Not doing it. You want to hate me for it? Fine. Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
If you have access to it.
If I have it, period.
Right.
If I have it.
So,
Where else would it be?
right. If
CIA.
you have it.
Right.
CIA.
But you can't say that you have it
No, we're giving you everything we have.
so far.
Everything we have so far is
Have
the
you
universe.
guys gone over all the video that's available?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what takes so much damn time.
Right.
And
And is there video from the island?
not of what you want. The people out there have filled the void with can't wait to see X, Y, or Z.
Right. Speculation.
And I'm like, here's the other thing I've been asking for, right? Openly. If you have information on this, call us. Tell us. The best resource we have is the American people in the world.
Right.
Get me the tail numbers. Get me the flight, get me new information, and I will run that down.
So this narrative might not be accurate, that there's video of these guys doing this.
Exactly.
Well, okay. We know that Jeffrey Epstein blackmailed very powerful people. We know they had video of Prince Andrew, for instance. This is why the payout happened. We know they had video of, listen, the articles say that Bill Gates was blackmailed by Bill Gates. Bill Gates was blackmailed by Epstein. How would Epstein blackmail him? Bill Gates had cheated on his wife with a Russian bridge player, a very young girl, that was introduced to him by Jeffrey Epstein. How would Jeffrey Epstein blackmail him over that? Everybody knew that Jeffrey Epstein's place was wired. He had all the CDs and hard drives. Do we have the photos of those? I'd like to dig down a little more here. All right, take us away here. This is the final answer from Kash Patel on Epstein, and I think this is potentially the most important.
Possible that the video was taken and destroyed.
There you go.
Well, you're talking about, decades worth of stuff, right? Remember, we have what we have pursuant to lawful search warrants and authorities from the case that was done however many years ago it was done. That's what we have. If other people have other stuff and they want to give it to us, bring it.
Have you guys reviewed everything that you have?
Almost. Yes, we have, and now we're figuring out how to put it out.
It's an unwinnable position for Kash. You watch this and you almost feel bad for him. It's an unwinnable position. How is he supposed to be held accountable for a bunch of scumbags that existed before him? And they talked about destroying evidence. He didn't discount that. They could have blanked things out. He says, you got to ask them. All I have is what I have. Did I come all the way here to lie to you and to destroy my reputation forever? It's already destroyed on the left. It's not like the left's ever going to like me. So the right, that's all I have. I'm going to destroy my reputation with them. But he's totally giving up that, like, yes, it might have been destroyed. This evidence might have been tampered with. And that, I think, is the real question. What else exists? I think the great follow-up there would be the CIA, the Southern District of New York, showing the photos of the Epstein raid from the FBI, all of the evidence that they got. I think that's also very important, pertinent, and we need to see it. And they're not talking about it. Sounds like a job for someone with a show to ask questions about. All right. Well, that's it. There it is. Man, what a live grenade, this Epstein thing for the Trump administration. Sucks. I just don't think we'll ever get the truth. I think it's been covered up for too many years. But I'm not a black pillar, so we'll see. Here's hoping. It's Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.